In the NBA, there are many moving pieces that are important to the game as a whole, and one of the biggest ones is the referee. While fans may hate them for making calls on their favorite players, they are vital to the game, keeping the pace and making sure everything is fair, 95% of the time. But sometimes, refs literally come in the line of fire as players aren't afraid to get right up in their face and beyond. Here are some players who have literally hurt the refs in games. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Montrezl Harrell.
5-game suspension as they felt the altercation with the referee was deliberate assault and battery on Harrell's part.
A member of the Clippers and praised as one of the best big men in the game right now, Montrezl Harrell is not just known for getting points. He's known for his very physical play. He's a true defensive-minded player, and both the Clippers and fans appreciate that. But as a part of that, he has a mentality to never backing down from anyone, and that includes the referees. But ironically, his physical altercation with one came with the Houston Rockets D-League. When he was there was an altercation between him and another player, and referee Goldenberg tried to break it up. Harrell was basically in a frenzy, and as a result, he literally shoved him to the ground. The league looked at the incident and suspended Harrell for the last 5 games of the D-League season. It was the right call, and Harrell no doubt has been a little more cautious about being too physical. Number 6. Dennis Rodman.
It looked like he headbutted him.
There are so many things you can say about Dennis Rodman, it's crazy. Mainly because he himself is crazy, and he doesn't care that you know that. He is without a doubt one of the greatest defensive players of all time, and as part of the Bad Boys and Jordan's second three-peat, he has a legend on the court. But he was also incredibly hot-headed in his later days, which he proved in 1996 when he was trying to plead his case to a ref, and then headbutted him. Granted, it wasn't that hard, but the act itself was shocking. He then ripped off his jersey and caused a tirade that is still memorable to this day. Which is why Rodman may be one of the most respected players in NBA history, but also one of the most volatile. Number 5. Nick Van Exel.
Referee Ron Garretson in last night's game at Denver. Van Exel has been suspended for 7 games and fined a record $25,000.
There are a lot of hotheads in NBA history, but when you look at Nick Van Exel, you can't help but wonder if he's even worse than Dennis Rodman, which is obviously not something you say lightly. Period. Anyway, in 1996, Nick Van Exel was playing for the Los Angeles Lakers and was getting ejected when all of a sudden he heard something from a nearby ref. And when he heard it, he exploded. No joke, he rushed to the ref and forearmed him over the scores table. And if you can't tell, that's bad. He wasn't just suspended, he was suspended for the rest of the season, fined $187,000, and that play will live on in infamy. Number 4. Kevin Porter Jr. Rookies in the NBA have a lot to learn on a wide variety of things, but that's why their rookie seasons are so important. Because it's one thing to be a star in college, and another to be a star in the NBA. For Kevin Porter Jr., he was the Cavs' first-round draft choice one year and learned the hard way not to screw with the refs. During a game with the Mavericks, Porter Jr. got the ball back with 2 seconds left and tried to win the game, but failed. But in his mind, he got fouled and was furious that the refs didn't make a call about it. So what did he do? He went and shoulder-checked the ref who didn't make the call and got a 1-game suspension as a result. Lesson of the day, rookie? You're not always going to get the calls you want. Number 3. Markieff Morris.
Here in D.C.
Markieff's got to be careful. He just pushed Kenny Mauer.
Morris is not just a key player on the Wizards, he's a man who isn't afraid to get physical to prove a point or set a tone, which was shown in the 2018 playoffs when he was not too nice to a ref who was just doing his job. The Wizards were going up against the Raptors, and during the opening minutes, a certain Raptors player got a bit too rough on Morris for his liking. As a result, Morris got up in his face and the two had to be separated. One of the people doing the separating was a ref, and Morris shoved him to the side so that he could continue the altercation. After the game, Morris said he really didn't do anything wrong, he was just trying to set the physical tone for the game by getting up in the Raptors' face. Sure you were. Whatever you say, man. Number 2, Isaiah Thomas.
Play here. Oh.
Not to be confused with the Detroit Pistons legend, the modern version of Isaiah Thomas is arguably one of the most underrated players in the NBA currently. He helped lead the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals and has done wonders for others, but because of his size, he's seen as a not as good as others, and thus, he keeps bouncing around. In 2020, he was on the Wizards, and in a game with the Trailblazers, he got ejected for pushing down a ref just 88 seconds into a game. Now, we're sure that some of you were like, well, he must be a real hothead to let that happen so quickly in a game. And that's where the debate comes in, because just before he pushed the ref down, he was in a trapped ball situation where he was being covered by 2 players, and literally right in front of him was the ref. Thomas claimed he didn't mean to shove him. He was just trying to get out or keep his balance or whatever, but even after reviewing the play, Thomas was ejected. Thomas maintains that he didn't mean to shove the ref, but what side of the story is true is still very much up for debate. Number 1, Carlos Boozer.
Strong move in the lane and had enough to get it to go. Fist pumps and almost punched Dan Crawford.
During the Derrick Rose era of the Bulls, they had many good players that made names for themselves, and one of them was Carlos Boozer, who was not just a scoring presence, but a defensive one as well. But the play that everyone remembers is when he accidentally blasted a ref where the sun don't shine. How did that happen? Well, during a game he made a big shot and he was thrilled, so he celebrated with an arm thrust. But he was facing one way when he started and faced the other when he finished. And as a result, he didn't see that referee Danny Crawford was there, and thus, wham! Thankfully Danny was fine, but the moment will live forever. There you go, a look at some NBA players who have attacked NBA refs both intentionally or unintentionally. Which of these do you think is the worst of the bunch? Which do you think is the funniest? Who do you think will be the next person to attack a ref? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time on the channel.